Ben is an amazing actor and a wonderful director. So it's really interesting to work with someone that has so much knowledge of not only acting but also of filmmaking. So to get the chance to work with someone like that is not only a wonderful experience, but it's a wonderful chance for you to explore different things because it has a different perspective than the director. And to create that with a partner is always very special. So it was an honor to be with him, definitely. The moment that Robert sent me the script, I really loved it because it was different than everything that I was reading at the time. I was very curious when he started talking to me about hypnotics, about like that idea that he always had, about his passion for Hitchcock movies, and for me it was just I really wanted to work with Robert, and when he sent me the script, it was so special, and it's been with him for 20 years that I wanted to join him on this journey more than anything. And apart from that, any actor would love to play in this movie because all of us get to play two roles in it. All the characters, apart from Ben, and even Ben a little bit, without giving much spoiler, everyone gets to play two roles. So it's a very interesting script and very unique, I think different than everything that I've been reading lately. So it was twists and turns and a lot of emotions, different perspective, different genres in the same film. But the root of it is Hitchcock. The root of it is a thriller, and Robert's a huge fan of this. So I think all the elements were just very special to join forces and to be a part of it. I felt very honored when he invited me to jump on board. Robert is a visionary. He's been doing films for 30 years. I mean, he knows so much about, about movie making. That is a true joy to be around him because he knows exactly what he wants, and because of that, he knows how to guide you through emotions, through positions, through ideas, through thoughts, and that is just a wonderful experience for an actor because you can really let it go and just be open for him to play and to follow his guidance. And I think he's this type of director that brings something to the table. That's why he's done so many different movies. I mean, you see Sin City, you see Alita, and then you see Heroes. These are three completely different projects, but with his DNA in it. And I think that's why it's so special. And I think Hypnotic is going to have something unique in it, and his passion for this type of genre, for Hitchcock and all that. When Robert invited me, I was so happy and excited to join forces. I'm so passionate about this character. I think Diana is such a powerful role in that sense that she's a strong woman that loves her family, and I think the movie is about love. I think this movie is about connection, is about reconciliation. While it's a thriller, it's an action thriller, but having the chance to play a character like her, and actually two different women that are the same woman that turns out to be a third woman, is a very powerful journey, I think, for an actress, and I very much enjoyed. I really hope for the audience to enjoy the ride, because I remember when I first read the script, it got me every single turn, all the surprises I didn't predict it. And I really hope we can do that with the audience. I really hope the audience enjoy that journey, that Hitchcock vibe, that those nuances. I think it's really special. I hope the audience enjoy.
This is somebody who's the audience thinks is one kind of person, and then makes these discoveries about as the movie goes on. So I kind of get to take advantage of the fact that I'm playing my own vision of what somebody like this character would be. It's hard to explain exactly, except that Robert's really smart and understands movies really well, and because he's written a multi-layered script where you have one level of reality and then you reveal another level of reality, another level of reality. You really can't appreciate kind of the whole movie entirely, maybe until you watch it the second time, because there's so much of it that is might seem a little off or a little strange or disconcerting, and then later on you understand why it is that way. And I really like the complicated, multi-layered aspect of it, and I like the acting challenge of, basically, my characters. I play a detective at the beginning, and then you realize later that that entire period has been where I'm under this like hypnotic spell and being kind of taken through this fantasy. So it's really my fantasy of what a detective's like. It's not really a real detective, which is kind of a lot like what some movies are. So it plays into the genre tropes of the detective movie in a kind of a fun way. It gets to play with that. And then it turns out I'm just a much more normal, kind of regular dad, a guy. And so that's fun. I get to play multiple characters. The movie's about a guy trying to find his daughter who's missing. And the series of discoveries you make over the course of the movie about what really happened and who's really got the daughter and why. And a lot of different motives are revealed. And like a lot of fun movies with twists and turns, it stays fun the whole way through because it keeps being surprising.
Great.
What made me want to do the movie was that the script had a number of different levels to it. I thought it was one thing, turned into something else, turned into something else. And by the end, I realized this is going to be a lot of fun to play this character. And even more than that, because of Robert and my admiration for him as a director, I've always wanted to work with him. I've always been inspired by him, what he's done from the beginning of his career on. And I make it a kind of mission to work with directors that I can learn from. And I've learned a lot. I love working down here and Robert's whole setup. He told me about it. I didn't really understand what he had going on, and it's hard for me not to be jealous because it's my fantasy world. He's very much like somebody came and visited me and was like, he's like a kid with toys. He's like you, and I was like, yeah, I feel the same way. Like he's got all this great stuff to play with, this backlot of his own, and it's like a movie filmmaker's fantasy. My favorite thing about the characters in this movie is that every time you think you understand them, you learn something new and they change. And so all of the characters are really fun that way. The actors are terrific, but it's such a fun environment. Robert's such a fun filmmaker. He's such an open, collaborative guy. And we just have common interests. And if I could, I would do exactly what he's done. This is my fantasy filmmaker world. So it is a joy. I didn't know what it was going to be like coming into this. And it's kind of, I feel like I found a kindred spirit in Robert in the sense that we both really love all the technical, creative aspects that go into filmmaking. And it's really fun to work with somebody who you both admire and look up to, and who's really friendly and kind, and who is really inclusive in his process. Elise is just wonderful. I've been such a fan and admirer of hers for so long, and I was really hopeful that we could get her for the movie. And when that worked out, I was really excited. And she's just a real pro, and she's so committed, and she's so passionate about what she does. It's contagious. You can't help but really feel a tremendous amount of energy and kind of excitement for the art form when you work with her. So, and those have been the people that I've principally done most of my scenes with, and they're just fabulous.
begin? Well, Hypnotic is about a man named Rourke, and he is a man with a wild past, and he is on the hunt for the individual he believes has something to do with the mysterious disappearance of his daughter. And on this journey to find out what happened to his daughter, a whole bunch of other secrets bubble to the surface. So I got the chance to read the script about 3-4 years ago. It was honestly one of the most incredible scripts I've ever read. It was a mind bender of a script, and literally one of those ones where I get to go to the Willy Wonka factory. Okay, you come here and you leave everything you thought you knew about the Troublemaker Studios process. You leave that at the door, and when you come in, it's a completely different experience. And they're all family here. Everybody who's on this set has worked with Robert multiple times, and so there's definitely a feeling of camaraderie and a feeling of family on this set. And yeah, you just want to come in, and you don't want to be the the adopted child that's a little bit weird or sticks out a little too much. You want to come in and you want to blend in and you want to play your role. So yeah, it's been incredible being in the studio and being in the crazy, magical, mystical world of Mr. Rodriguez. Yes. My favorite part of the movie is absolutely when the ball drops. When we go right into the third act, and the veil has been pulled over Rourke's eyes, played by Ben Affleck, and he sees the world for what it really is. It's just such a gut-wrenching moment. And you don't believe what you see. From that moment on in the movie, every single thing that happens, you're not quite sure of what's happening. You're not quite sure of what real is. And not to be political about it, but we're in a day and age where the truth is is on the verge of being extinct. The truth is fighting for its place in the world. So I think there's an allegory there for truth and for what is truth, and how do you decipher what's real from what's not real. And this is a movie that's gonna mess with people's minds when they leave, trying to figure out what's real and what's not real. So for me, yeah, when Ben wakes up to the reality of his world, that's an incredible moment. That's what you go to movies for, period. I just hope audiences have a great time at the movies, man. This is just one of those fun, incredible popcorn movies where you fall in love with these characters, and every minute that goes by is a mystery. Everything is, up in the air as to where the story's gonna go and where our characters gonna find themselves. And so I love movies that just keep audiences at the edge of their seats, trying to figure out what's going to happen, what's happening, and that's what I want audiences to have, a roller coaster of a ride of a movie. Something where you walk out, you're blown away, and one of those movies where when you go to, dinner afterwards, the conversation keeps going as to what it is that you just saw. That's what I hope for audiences.
I started writing this in 2002 because they had rediscovered Vertigo, Hitchcock's Vertigo, and I started relooking at his movies. I was always a big fan, the craftsmanship, the big entertainment of it, the suspense, the twist. And I thought I'd love to do a movie in that style. They were the first movies that ever inspired me to even think about filmmaking. So I started thinking about which great titles he had: Vertigo, Spellbound, Psycho. I thought, what name like that, like a one title name, hadn't he done that would be it? And then right then the name Hypnotic came into my head. And I thought, Hypnotic, that's a great title, but what does it mean? And then within like 10 minutes I came up with the basics of the story. Someone who's super uncatchable. A villain that you could meet them and you forget you even met them. They take your bank account, they take anything they want from you, walk away, and you don't even know you met them. So I thought that would be the ultimate person. And started crafting the script from there and came up with a lot of the set pieces that are in the film, the final film, sticked since 2002. The script evolved over time, but a lot of the main set pieces and hooks where the audience never knows what's real is what's fun about a movie like this. What's fun about it is almost like one of those wrong man movies of the Hitchcock genre, which I did even in El Mariachi. It's just a great way to introduce an audience to something new. So Ben Affleck plays Rourke. He's a detective who's hot on the trail of this character named Dellrayne, played by Bill Fichtner, that is pulling off these elaborate bank heists but getting away clean. So he brings in Cruz, who knows about hypnotics and this underworld world of hypnotics, but now they are a target because not only is Rourke after Dellrayne, but Dellrayne has something that Rourke found in the bank heist, which is a picture of his own daughter with a clue on it, his missing daughter. So there's an emotional connection. Rourke trying to find his missing daughter. He thinks Dellrayne is the secret, and it's a chase. It's a mutual chase through the end. One thing that always elevated Hitchcock's movies was his casting. He always had people like Cary Grant, or Jimmy Stewart, or Grace Kelly, Ingrid Bergman, and really wanted to cast this up and get real superstars. And Ben Affleck plays Rourke and brings that sort of Hitchcock mystique to this role. He is the father looking for his daughter. He is the relentless cop. And he's got such star quality and presence that I really felt like I was filming a Hitchcock film. Like I got one of those classic movie stars. He's of the right age and just came in lean, mean, and ready to rock. And he is awesome. He was really fun in this role. Alicia Braga is just someone I've worked with before. Just love her. She just brings so much heart and dimension to a role, intelligence, and a mystique to her because she does possess these hypnotic powers. When she explains it to you, and there's a lot of explaining she has to do not only to Rourke but to the audience, you believe everything she says because she's so good at making it feel very real and genuine and heartfelt. And that's what these movies need, is that extra dimension of the human heart, and she brings it. And Bill Fichtner, William Fichtner, I could not imagine someone better to play this character. I needed someone with a gravitas that you know right away, he's the villain, he's the guy you're going after, yet he has an intelligence and layers to him that only get unveiled later, and he's got this hypnotic quality to him. You put the camera front and center and have him look almost right into camera, and he hypnotizes you. He is so great in this, and he really had fun getting to go with it, and he just floats through each scene like it's nothing. Yeah, I'm working in Austin, Texas again in my own Troublemaker Studios, and I'm always using that as a selling point. Studios, come film here, it's one-stop shopping, and it definitely is in this movie. We didn't have to go anywhere. There's very few days that we're on locations. Most everything was shot, every nook and cranny of this place, from the elevators to the offices, to behind the back lot, to this back lot itself, which is leftover set of Alita, doubling for Mexico. And we get to use it in ways I can't even reveal that I've always wanted to use. And it is phenomenal. It is really something that saved us tens of millions of dollars because we're utilizing everything that's around here. And it gives it the big scope, epic scope that a Hitchcock type film deserves. I used to compose the score for my films as well, but my son Rebel took the job from me. He's just so good. The last film we did, We Can Be Heroes, he wrote circles around me. I just had to let him do the whole movie. And he's already been writing music while we were in pre-production, while we were shooting. So here we're finished shooting, and I already got several main pieces of the score before I've even really started editing. And that's what's really great about having your kids there. My other son, Racer, is my producer, and he's been doing every day here, doing rewrites with me because locations change, actors change, situations change. We come up with better ideas, how to really hone in on what the movie's becoming. And my 17-year-old did previs animatics with his game engine that really helped us know what to shoot for the special effects as far as plates, because it gave everyone an idea of all the awesome imagery we were going to be adding later. And he created all that in his game engine for me, and it was just stellar. No, that was one of the main things I was excited about, was we were making a movie for the big screen, with a release pattern that was going to be designed for theatrical and for being something that would draw repeat business. You want to make a movie that will have people come to the theater again and again because it surprises them and they want to bring others, and it's a communal experience because the surprises and the shocks come fast and furious. So it's a real audience picture, like a Hitchcock film. Even if you see it at a revival theater, plays amazing to an audience even today. To the characters, and they can't tell what's real and what's not after a while. And that constant playing with the characters is what we do as filmmakers with the audience. And you see the relationship really well, and it's why we love movies. It's why we love, visual storytelling. And this takes that and goes all the way with it and slams on the gas.
So my agent sends me this script and says, read the script. It's called Hypnotic. Robert Rodriguez is making this film. If you like it, he'd like to have a Zoom with you. Well, I read the script and I called her right back immediately, and I'm like, set the Zoom up. So I talked to Robert, and it was really interesting to listen to him go in depth about this story. And after 15, 20 minutes on the Zoom, he says to me, well, this sounds great, man. I look forward to seeing you in Texas. Well, I'm sitting there thinking, I think he just asked me to come and do this film. So I called my agent back. I said, I think he just said, come and do this film. And I said, so if that's what he said, you can call him back and tell him, yes, I'll be there. So working with Robert is, and I really mean this, and I haven't said this many times in my life, if ever, there are some people that I've worked with, and Ridley Scott being one of them, that I was just so happy to have that experience. But to work with Robert and his vision in everything that he makes, and his style, and his sense of how he shoots things, how he perceives things, the stories that he tells, it's a little bit of a bucket list thing for me. So when this opportunity came up, there was no hesitation whatsoever. I'm going to Austin, Texas. To follow Ben Affleck and his character of Rourke, this is a man who is in a deeply troubled place in his life, and he lost his daughter, and his journey and his to strive to not only survive, but to survive that emotional journey that he's in right now, and then to begin to understand, as he does, That's the world is not what we think it is, or even he thinks it is, and that is talk about the challenge that he already had, and then it just got like tenfold. And I think that audiences will watch that and like he is, and I do believe you never really get in front of this story, which is part of the reason that the script is so amazing. And I believe that the story is so amazing. You don't get in front of it. And all of a sudden something happens and you're like, okay, wait a minute. What's wrong with this picture? Or what's right with this picture? I think that's exciting for an audience. It's always exciting for me when I watch things like that. You know, there's an enthusiasm about Robert that I don't think I've ever met anybody that quite has that. I know the first day that I came to Austin, got off the plane, stopped here, did a wardrobe fitting, went to see Robert on stage. They'd already been shooting for a couple of weeks, and Robert said immediately, "Come here, I got to show you something." He took me in this little screening room, and he showed me something that he shot, I think, the day before, and he had already cut it together, and I had this instant glance at like his style and what he's thinking about. But a filmmaker that has that sort of enthusiasm, if that's not infectious, I don't know what is. And it's been like that every single day that I've been here, and it's just an absolute joy to be around. And not only with Robert, but for everybody that works with him over and over. Everybody reflects that sort of goodwill and feeling and vibe, and it's a special place to be. Alicia is just, she's just great. She's just great. She's so present. Her character requires such emotional depth, and she is an actress that has it just to look at her, and she's there, always. Ben I met shooting Armageddon while we were trying to save the planet. We were kind of on the same team. We were trying to save the planet. It's a little different this go around. But this go around, I'm the asteroid, he's the planet. But Ben's great. Once again, you know, when I read this and knew that Ben was doing it, and I'm 5 pages into it, and I'm thinking, yeah, Ben is the person to play this role. And then to be on set with him and to work with him, he is the person to play this role.